Since the new update is coming out on March 8th, I thought this would be a good time to start making these videos. I am going to do my least favorite to my most favorite every single card series. So today we're going to start out with epics because personally I think those are the most interesting, coming from the new update at least, because the new update is going to upgrade all your rares, all your epics, and all your legendaries for the most part. I know they aren't upgrading all of them, but almost all of them are getting a buff. So guys, stay tuned for that. There will be a ton of gameplay on that in the future once that update drops on March 8th. So when you think of unusable cards, what do you think of immediately? For me, the least favorite, the least used, and the worst epic card out there by far is Chicken Coop. Chicken Coop, it sounds good. I feel like maybe it could be good if it was just a little bit more practical. Maybe it spawned 2 chickens in every 5 seconds or something a little bit better. Maybe it spawns 2 in every 5 seconds, but it spawns them, like maybe it spawns in 8 in total. That could be a little bit more effective, but 1 chicken every 5 seconds isn't worth it. It's not usable. I just don't see any purpose in using it. Have you guys really found anyone using this card in any sort of deck? If you have, please tell me what deck, and I guess I could try it out, but at this point, I just don't see this card as being a usable card by any means. This might be an unpopular opinion. It might be a popular opinion. I don't know for sure. But another card I just can't see myself using, and I rarely see anyone use, is all the Randys. I'm gonna put all the Randys at the second worst spot. They're basically all the same, especially the epic ones. I just can't see myself using it. Pocahontas Randy spawns in 1 Indian kid, and it's basically the exact same. If I can find it, I can't remember the name right now. There's one more, the Sexy Nun Randy. It's basically the same exact as Sexy Nun Randy. Can't see myself using it. Again, it sounds good. You'd think it would be good spawning in another unit like every so often. But when it comes to it, it just isn't worth it. And then the Amazingly Randy spawns in 2 cocks. Still, I don't think it's used. For the third worst epic card, I would have to say it's Gizmo Ike. Gizmo Ike, again, this card, when you think about it, it's like, holy shit, I can keep doubling a troop. I can keep doubling it over and over again. If his charge was faster, it would be amazing. But his charge is just too slow, he's way too weak, and I don't think he does enough damage to justify ever using him in any sort of battle. He'll die with 1 hit to almost any single troop, and to even to tanks, he's going to go down super quickly. You won't be able to get maybe more than 3 Ikes down, and that's if you're lucky. So my next card is Osmo 4000. I'm pretty sure he does the same amount of damage as Sheriff Cartman, but Sheriff Cartman, he can kill Rat Swarm, he can kill Pigeon Gang, which you'll see quite often, and he can do a lot more damage to all the surrounding troops. This guy, I guess you could use him if you dropped a bunch of troops and you froze them all and you had a ton of assassins down killing the enemy team. But I would rather just use Sheriff Cartman and get that damage down while my assassins are still doing their damage. I think Sheriff Cartman is by far a lot more powerful than Osmo 4000, and he's one of the worst tanks you can use. My next pick would have to be Pope Timmy. Pope Timmy is a decently fun card, I would say. If you're trying to have fun, use him with Man Bear Pig. I think that's one of the funnest combinations in this game. But still, it's not practical. You have to get 14 energy down to use this guy. So first you have to drop the Man Bear Pig. And then you might want to push up with some sort of other rush or build up another rush where you can drop Pope Timmy when he spawns in the Man Bear Pig, and then you drop an assassin behind, so you have Pope Timmy, Man Bear Pig, and then 1 assassin. I think that's probably the best way to do it, but that's just way too much energy. You're going to have to build up a huge push and get your cards all in order. But Pope Timmy, other than that, spawning in anything below that, like maybe 5 5, 6, 7 energy. I don't know if it's worth it. Spawning in maybe like a level or a 4 energy assassin, I don't know if it's worth it. This could be good for the new update though, with Stand of Many Moons. It could be. Do you guys think that that's a good idea? Maybe it could spawn in another Mecha Timmy. That could be another cool idea. Having 2 Timmys down would always be, you know, pretty annoying to deal with. My next pick would have to be Hermes Kenny. So this is definitely a usable card. This is very similar to Dog Poo, but Dog Poo landed itself way higher on the list. I think Dog Poo, since you get him earlier, you have a lot more experience with him, and he's just a little bit of a more tanky troop than Hermes Kenny. Even though Hermes Kenny, he does swing a little bit faster, and his Death Wish doubles energy gain for 2 seconds. That's pretty good and all. I still don't see myself using him, and I don't see really anyone else using him too much. There's just so many other assassins I would rather use, but if you're using Mystical, go for this guy. In my opinion, the worst Jimmy is the Epic Jimmy, Storyteller Jimmy. His aura decreases attack of all nearby enemies. All nearby enemies' attack is decreased. Why wouldn't you use Enforcer Jimmy instead? That's what I would use personally. Take away everyone's charge for a little bit when they're around you instead of decreasing their attack. It sounds good. I just don't think it really works out the way you'd want it to, and I haven't leveled them up enough to really use them. But we'll see if it changes after this future update. Maybe Storyteller Jimmy will be a lot better, and he decreases the enemy's damage by, or the enemy's attack by a lot. So Stan I've been using for quite a long time, and I can always start using him again, especially after this update. Program Stan. I just don't think he has a spot on my team anymore. His freeze is cool and I love using it, but I would rather use a Stan the Great and in the future update Stan of Many Moons than this guy. And I would definitely rather use some other assassin. I think I would switch him out for an Astronaut Butters, which I do plan on using, or a Terrence or a Rat Swarm instead of this guy. Rat Swarm, I think I switched it out for Program Stan. It was definitely the better decision. This guy, he's just, he doesn't do enough damage, and his freeze isn't really all that great to really justify using him, in my opinion. You can use him, and he is a fun card, but I think there are a bunch of other great epics out there, and just commons, rares, and legendary cards that are better than Program Stan. So at first the cards were horrible, and then once we reached Program Stan, I would say that's about average. And now we're leaning towards the better cards once we hit Transmorgify. I think Transmorgify is definitely a viable option, especially if you want to target tanks. He could be great for Zen Cartman, even though that's a 2 energy decrease. Taking out Zen Cartman from anyone's deck is always a good option, no matter how much energy you have to use, because taking out the tank, especially Zen Cartman, can definitely change the tide of a battle, even if you have to use an extra 2 energy. If you could do it at the start of the game, it's probably not going to affect you much, and you'll get Zen Cartman out of his hand for a time being. If you're a mystical player, you might put Choir Boy Butters way high up on your favorite epics, but Death Wish gives you a little extra energy. I think it gives you 1 energy once he dies, so it's basically like a 1 energy troop. So I can see the appeal to him, but whenever I drop any sort of troop, I basically kill Choir Boy Butters with 1 hit. A Sally kills him with 1 hit. I'm pretty sure a Space Warrior token kills him with 1 hit. Alien Clyde kills him with almost 1 hit, so he's going down super quick, and I just cannot see myself using him. If you had him at level 3, go for it. And he's basically in 1 energy troop, since he gives you a little energy back. Yeah, so I can definitely see myself using this guy if I was a mystical player. Since I'm not putting him at the top spot. So there's those cards that change the tide of a battle. I think Cock Magic is that. It transforms 3 random allies and or enemies into angry cocks. So if you kind of play it like this, where you basically aren't playing in the beginning and you allow the enemy just to drop down a bunch of troops, fake them into thinking you're not playing and you're giving them the easy win. This has happened to me multiple times before, but I do not allow it to happen to me, and I won't allow it to happen to me ever again. But maybe you can get some newbier players to basically drop down maybe a tank and a couple assassins and use this cock magic and get a bunch of energy on your side. Make sure you guys recognize that people might be faking you into the cock magic play, but I don't think it happens too much at higher levels, but definitely more at lower levels. So watch out for this card, but I still think it's a good card to play in your normal deck, not trying to fake people out. So I think a more viable option for a spell is Arrow Storm, and that's why I placed it at the next spot. Damage all enemies. So that's what it does. At level 3, it does 146 damage if I leveled it up to 4, which I think would be a good option for me if I wanted to use this, which, you know, I've always been thinking about using this card since it does damage to all the enemies and it will kill a lot of them. So at level 3, it's going to kill a lot of the smaller assassins and do a lot of damage to the a little bit more meaty ones, and then do also additional damage to the tanks out there. But I would have to put it under Fireball and under Lightning if I had to choose between those spell cards. So people might strongly disagree with me on this pick, but I would say Cyborg Kenny has got to be placed in my top 5. Cyborg Kenny is such an awesome card and I love him so much. I'm actually only 6 Cyborg Kennys away from leveling him up to level 4. So I doubt you see a level 4 Cyborg Kenny very often. But he has pretty good damage, pretty good attack, I would say. And then he switches the enemy unit. It doesn't work out that great all the time. He gets lightninged, lightninged, and fireballed, arrow stormed quite often, especially if the enemy has it and I drop it next to any other troops. So that can be deadly. It is a pretty costly assassin, but it seems that when I use him, it pretty much works out for me for the most part. So what's that card you have to respect that you didn't really see too many people using in the beginning? I would say that card is Marcus. For sure, I had to put him in the top 5. You got to give some respect to this man. So his charge throws a drug pillow at the enemy leader, dealing 56 damage. This guy might get power binded a lot, but since that new update's coming out, which power bind's going to be 2 energy, people might not use them only on Marcus. Like, they might avoid using him on Marcus. But this guy can do that damage that you can't really push through. It's an even match, and you need damage to the tower, but you just can't get it with your assassins alone. So you drop Marcus in the back to do that damage, to get you that tower down, and hopefully win you the battle. That's what I think most people use him for, doing that little damage if it's an even match and getting the victory for yourself. So what's one of the most overused epic cards out there? You probably see it almost every game, especially if you're facing adventure. I would say Hookhand Clyde is almost a must use. I personally don't use them just because I have them at level 2. I think in the future, I'm going to upgrade this guy just so I have him as an option to use in my deck. But Warcry, damage a random enemy, 28 if it hits the leader. So he's going to do damage to the leader, or he's going to do a very huge amount of damage, 275 at level 2, barely upgraded. So that's a huge amount of damage. That's going to kill most assassins, if not all of them. I don't know of an assassin that it won't kill. I think Alien Clyde at level 5 against a level 3, it won't kill fully, but it'll get super close, like 1 hit and he's dead by anything. And maybe a Heidi, it won't kill for sure. Yeah, won't kill a Heidi fully, but it'll get her very weak at level 5. But for most assassins, it will kill them, and he's just such a nice card to use. And then he has decently strong attack as well. Does he have stronger attack than Program Stan, or around the same? I would say around the same, but this guy's Warcry is definitely more usable, and that's why I had to put him at number 2. So what's the epic card that is the best in my opinion? What is your favorite epic card? Tell me in the comment section. I would appreciate that. I'm very curious. What do you think is the best? For me, I would have to go with Rogue Token. Rogue Token is that card that does so much damage and can change the tide to any battle and help you win. Okay, so his Warcry deals damage to nearby enemies. He does the jump, spin, and he fucking kills every enemy nearby. If I got this guy to level 4, there's no way in hell I wouldn't use him. But he's at level 3, and I don't use fantasy, so, oh my god. I want to use this guy. If I was a fantasy player, I would level him all the way up because I can. And I would get him all the way up to level 3 max, and he would be such a viable option for me. I would say if you're using fantasy, why aren't you running Rogue Token? He's the best epic card out there by far, in my opinion. It's basically like having a little bit of a weaker fireball, but then also having a troop down. So let's say someone's going on a push and you really don't have anything to stop them. They have like 3 troops down, but you have that Rogue Token in play. You can't drop an assassin into 3. You can't drop an assassin into 3 troops. They're going to die immediately. Let's say you just have enough to drop 1 Rogue Token. I would drop that Rogue Token. He's going to deal a lot of damage, and then he's still going to have full health. And then with that full health, he'll probably be able to kill maybe 1 extra assassin, and his Warcry will probably kill 1, if not 2 assassins alone. And then with his just body damage, soaking up all that damage, with the tower helping him, it's easily gonna kill all the troops around. So that's why I have to put him at this number 1 spot. He's good for defense, he's good for rushing, he's good for stopping Terrence, starving Marvin. This guy is so versatile. You can use him for so many different plays, and he's just such a great option. Why not use this man? Go get him on your deck. He's so fucking good. What do you want me to review next? Commons, epics, commons, rares, or legendaries? Tell me, I'll review it tomorrow. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.